Hey guys, what's going on? It's David from Scissor Explosion, and today I'm going to be bringing you another deck profile. And the deck profile today is a Psychic Malamar Toolbox deck. This deck is very, very strong in the post-rotation format. If you watch the World Championship, a Malamar Toolbox deck got second place, lost to a Zoroark Gardevoir deck, but Gardevoir is no more, so this deck probably stands an even better chance of going further in this format. Second place isn't bad at all. Second place is nothing to scoff at. But this deck is really strong. You've got a lot of search in the form of Mysterious Treasure plus Ultra Ball. You've also got a lot of energy acceleration with Malamar and Dawnwing's Necrozma, Lunala Prism Star with the Full Moon Star attack. So if y'all haven't been to the channel before, be sure and subscribe. We're really close to getting to our 50 subscribers. And once we get there, we're going to be giving away some hyper rare Pokemon GX. And once we get to 50, I'm going to make a video detailing how we're going to give those away. So y'all stay tuned for that. But without further ado, let's get into the deck profile. To start, we have 4 copies of Inkay. You cannot run a Malamar deck without Inkay. Inkay has the attack Hypnosis, which can be useful at times. If it's stuck in the active, you have no way to retreat it. You can attach Psychic Energy and then use Hypnosis to try and put your opponent's Pokemon to sleep, and hopefully they don't flip ahead so they can stay asleep. So, 4 copies of Inkay. And on to the real star of the deck, we run 4 copies of Malamar. Malamar has the powerful Psychic Recharge ability. Once during your turn before you attack, you can attach a Psychic Energy from your discard pile to one of your benched Pokemon. Really, really strong. You use this to fuel your attacks. You bring up something like a Necrozma GX or a Dawnwing's Necrozma, and use Psychic Recharge before you put it into the active, and then get it into the active and start attacking. Malamar is a really, really strong Pokemon, and without Gardevoir here to slow his ability down, I don't see anything really standing in its way. So, 4 copies of Malamar. Next up, we run 2 copies of Dawnwing's Necrozma GX. Dawnwing's Necrozma is really good in this deck for 2 reasons. The one reason I play 2 is because of the invasion ability. Once during your turn before you attack, if this Pokemon is on your bench, you can switch it with your active Pokemon. It's just another way to shuffle your attackers around, get a certain Pokemon out of the active, and then if you have Alter the Moon down, you can attach Psychic Energy, retreat back into that attacker once you've used Psychic Recharge, and continue on with your attacks. So, and then the second reason we run it is because in the mirror match, this is the one thing that can save us, because he's a Psychic Pokemon that's not weak to Psychic type. It's actually a Ghost type Pokemon, so it's weak to Dark. So that can help us in our mirror match. So 2 copies of Dawnwing's Necrozma. Next up, we play 2 copies of Marshadow GX. Marshadow GX is really good. I, at one time, considered him not that good. But the reason he's so good in this deck is because you have so many basic attackers in this deck. And if they're in the discard pile, he can use his Shadow Hunt ability to use their attacks from the discard pile. So he's really good. He also helps us in our worst matchup, which is Zoroark. Zoroark is resistant to Psychic, and also our Dawnwings is weak to Dark. So Marshadow can come up there, get 3 energies on him, and then hit with a Dark Flash or a Prismatic Burst, and then take a one-shot on a Zoroark. So Marshadow is really, really strong. I doubted his power before, but I will not doubt it again. My friend kept telling me, Marshadow is so good, you should play him. I'm like, oh, he's got 150 HP, he's easily one-shotted. Yes, he's easily one-shotted, but he has a really strong ability, and he's very, very versatile, especially in this deck. So, 2 copies of Marshadow GX. We run 1 copy of Necrozma GX. I really want to up this to 2, but I really can't find the space or really the need for it. Necrozma GX is really good with his Prismatic Burst attack. It does 10 damage plus, then you discard all Psychic Energy attached to him. Then this attack does 60 more damage for each card you discard in this way. If you attach 3 Psychic Energies, which is the only energy in this deck, you will be dealing 190 damage without a Choice Band. So with Choice Band, you'll be hitting 220. And yeah, it's just a really, really powerful attack. If this guy gets knocked out, you can bring up Marshadow, copy his attack, and it's basically like he's still in play. And then Black Ray GX is really good, especially against Buzzwole decks. Black Ray GX does 100 damage to each of your opponent's EX and GX Pokemon. Well, no, never mind. Unaffected by weakness resistance. It's not very good against Buzzwole decks. But anyway, if you get run into a deck that has a lot of stage 2s or really high Pokemon that are hard to one-shot, you can use Black Ray GX and then deal 100 damage to all their GXs and EXs. And they are easily one-shotted after that. So, one copy of Necrozma GX. Next up, run a copy of Mewtwo GX. Mewtwo GX is really good. He's got 190 HP to boot, so he's one of our highest HP Pokemon in this deck. Honestly, I think he is the highest. He is the highest Pokemon with the HP in this deck. Full Burst is really strong. You can Psychic Recharge onto him a lot and then deal a lot of damage. Just 30 damage times the amount of energies attached to Mewtwo GX. And then Super Absorption can be useful. 1 Psychic, 1 Colorless, 60 damage, and you heal 30 damage from this Pokemon. But the real reason to use this card is his GX attack. Psy Strike GX. For 3 Psychic Energies, does 200 damage, and unaffected by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. So you can hit past anything like an opposing Dawn Wings if they use their GX attack, or even things like the Alolan Ninetales that has the ability that stops EXs and GXs. You can hit through that with this GX attack. I don't know if you want to waste your GX attack on the Pokemon like that, but if it comes to that, then that is an option you have. So 1 copy of Mewtwo GX. Then we run 1 copy of Lunala Prism Star. Lunala Prism Star is really good because of Full Moon Star and its other attack, Psystorm. Full Moon Star lets you, for each of your opponent's Pokemon in play, attach a Psychic Energy from the discard pile to your Pokemon in any way you like. So you can charge up this Lunala, you can charge up a Dawn Wings or a Necrozma GX, Marshadow, something like that, and then get them ready to attack on the next turn. And then he has the Psystorm, attack for 4 Psychic Energies does 20 damage times the amount of energy attached to all of your Pokemon, or to all Pokemon in play. So if you have 4 energies on him, maybe you Psychic Recharge onto something on the bench, you're dealing more and more damage. Psystorm is a really, really strong attack. My friend used to run a Delphox deck that had the exact same attack, and it can be devastating sometimes. So Lunala Prism Star, 1 copy, because we only run 1 copy. And to end off the Pokemon line, we have 2 copies of Tapu Lele GX for that Wonder Tag ability to get us supporters when we need them. And the Energy Drive is pretty strong in here because we do have Psychic Recharge, so we can charge up a ton of energy on our Tapu Lele and hit for a lot of damage. Plus, Tapu Cure is an option, but I don't think it's really an option you should go for. In the GX attack department, your best options are Necrozma GX, Mewtwo, and your Dawn Wings. So Tapu Lele is there mainly for the Wonder Tag. And that's it for our Pokemon. Next up, we've got 4 copies of Cynthia. We're going on to the supporters now. Shuffle your hand to your deck, draw 6. It is the standard draw supporter of the format. So 4 copies of that. And next up, we run 4 copies of Guzma. Guzma is really good in this deck because you need to switch your attackers around. You need to get your Necrozma out of the active, back onto the bench, Psychic Recharge onto him, and then bring up Dawn Wings Retreat, and then start attacking again with Necrozma, or vice versa with any other attacker in this deck, Marshadow or Mewtwo, Dawn Wings himself. But yeah, Guzma is really strong in this deck. Target down the Pokemon you want to take down your opponent's bench while also shifting your attackers around in order to get that Psychic Recharge off. 2 copies of Tate and Liza. Tate and Liza is another option we have for switching, or we can shuffle and draw 5 cards. So it has choose 1. You can shuffle your hand to your deck and then draw 5, or you can switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench. It's just another way to get your attackers shifting around. Bring up a Dawn Wings with Invasion, and then charge your Pokemon up on the bench. Use Tate and Liza, switch your Pokemon out, and then start attacking again. And the last supporter we run is 2 copies of Lily. Lily is really strong on the first turn. It's one of my favorite first turn cards. Draw till you have 6 cards in your hand. If this is your first turn, you can draw till you have 8. Lily is really, really strong. I've also considered upping the Tate and Liza count and maybe putting a copycat in here, but y'all let me know in the comments below what you think about that. So 2 copies of Lily. And that's it for our supporters, guys. We've got, next up, 4 copies of Ultra Ball. Ultra Ball is especially good in this deck because it can help you get your discards down. You can start discarding your Psychic Energy into the discard pile and getting it ready for Malamar to Psychic Recharge it onto your attackers. And then we could discard 2 Psychic Energies, search for a Malamar, and then start Psychic Recharging immediately. So 4 copies of Ultra Ball. Next up, 4 copies of Mysterious Treasure. Mysterious Treasure is good in the same way that Ultra Ball is for this deck. Instead, you discard one, but you switch your deck for a Psychic or Dragon type and put it into your hand. We don't run any Dragons, of course, in this deck, but we do run almost all Psychics. The only Pokemon that is unsearchable by this card in this deck is Marshadow. So, yeah, this can help us get our energies to the discard pile and start recharging, or start Psychic recharging onto our Pokemon. 4 copies. Next up, we play 4 copies of Acrobike. Acrobike's really good because you can start milling through your deck, start seeing, or start getting rid of some of the stuff you don't need, and maybe if you top deck a Psychic Energy with your Acrobike, you can discard it to the discard pile, and then start fueling your Psychic Recharge Fire. So Acrobike's really, really strong in this deck. 2 copies of Choice Band. I want to up this to 3. I just cannot find the room. I don't know what I should take out for it. But I'm still looking. I like to get this to 3, so Choice Band's there to deal more damage. Deal more damage to your Pokemon EX, Pokemon GX. Some of your Pokemon don't really need it. Dawnwing's Necrozma, rather, will not one-shot anything with its attack, unless you're using your GX attack with the Choice Band at 210, so you can knock out things like Golisopod. You can't knock out Zoroark, obviously, because he has resistance, but start hitting those 210 Pokemon and knock them out with your GX attack on Dawnwing's Necrozma. So 2 copies of Choice Band, 2 copies of Switch. Like I said, you gotta switch your attackers around this deck, and Switch is another option we have. So combined with Guzma, Tate and Liza, our Alter the Moon, and Switch, I think we have plenty of ways to keep switching our attackers around. So 2 copies of Switch. And the last item we run is 1 copy of Rescue Stretcher to get some of those Pokemon back. Sometimes Acrobike can give us 2 Pokemon, and maybe we don't necessarily want to lose both of those Pokemon. So Rescue Stretcher is there to get those Pokemon either back into the deck or into your hand. So 1 copy of Rescue Stretcher. And that's it for the items. The 1 stadium we run is 3 copies of Alter the Moon. Alter the Moon is good. It gives everything in your deck free retreat as long as you have a Psychic Energy attached to them. So we usually want to have this up all the time. Excuse me. We usually want to have these up all the time, and all we have to do is attach Psychic Energy to one of our Pokemon, retreat them into our attackers once we Psychic Recharge onto them, and then start dealing our damage again. And to finish off the deck, we run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 Psychic Energies. 11, I think, is a pretty round number. You could up it to 12. I've tested it at 12, and 12's not bad. But I had to take out one to get that Lunala Prism Star in the deck. So there you go. 11 Psychic Energies to round off the deck. And that's it for the deck profile, guys. Let us know what you think in the comments below. If there's something in this deck you would try. I know some people are trying the Mimikyu that has the copycat attack, or like the non-GX Dawnwings. I've seen some lists run a Rangaroo. I've thought about running a Rangaroo in here. You do run to sometimes whenever you could use a Rangaroo, but I ultimately decided not to add them in the deck. Would you add a Rangaroo in your version? Let me know in the comments below, guys. Coming up next, I've got a Rayquaza Vikavolt deck, which I think is probably the best way to run Rayquaza in the post-rotation format. But y'all be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, like and comment below, and we will see you all next time.